up to from $50 to $100. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that for these municipalities that we provide IT service for, any issues that they have, they call us, they pay us whatever the service call is. But if there's a problem, all they say is, well, just write a check. The Windsor's going to take care of it. So yeah, it does fall upon us that we have to, and all they have to do is write the check. Cornwall and the village of Cornwall are in the same boat right now with their ambulance. They don't have an ambulance service. They can't seem to get it together. Whatever they've been trying to do since the last year is not working. So all they have to do is, okay, if there's a problem, call the Windsor. We'll just send them a check. So once again, that's pretty easy to do. Just write a check and then we have no responsibility. Same with like even this dog issue after hours. Let's just write a check. The Windsor's going to take care of it. So how many things will we be taking care of? We also have many of these license plate readers around town that kind of help us when we're trying to solve some crime. We never ever just look at it to see where people are going. That's not what this is for. But we have lots of calls from local police departments in our area that, hey, we're looking for this car. Can you just put it in your system and then it'll pop up? So we are spending a lot of money and time, and other municipalities are kind of benefiting from our expertise over here. And we do seem to have expertise in a lot of different areas. So I'm just asking the board members just to kind of take a look at this and maybe during the month get back to me and let me know what your thoughts are on some of these things. And I'm not, anything's written in stone. I'm just trying to say that we doing a lot of extra things that other municipalities are benefiting for. And Finnegan, Jack Finnegan, former control, always said the same thing. Yeah, all they got to do, George, is say, yeah, just write a check and Windsor. We're good. It's over. Let them worry about it. And that's the thing that sometimes is, I'm wondering why we're doing it. The next item on the agenda, Matt Veronese, our recreation director, came to me with some people from that use our fields that are deeply involved in soccer. And I thought when they came and I met with these two guys and Matt, and they said that they were going to pay for this. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't that crazy about it anyway. And then when I get the latest thing from Matt, which I sent everybody, they now no, we're going to pay for it and we're going to get the money back because they're going to pay us so much a year to use the fields. So we begin to look at this synthetic field business, and Cornwall is now in the middle of some great debate with whether they're going to put it at their football field. And I've been following it in the local Cornwall paper. One of the things that really caught my eye is that they started to talk about this PFOS and PFOA in this turf. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, listen, I have heard enough of this PFOS and PFOA with the water. Now, do I really want to get involved in this? So I guess what I'm asking, if everybody's read this thing, if you haven't read it, and that I said about the synthetic, anybody have any feelings on whether we should go forward with this, not go forward with this? We'll start with you.
I mean, for me, it's a lot of money to lay out. I think it's a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
Um,
So where are you?
and I think what's going to happen, it seems like this company wants to kind of handcuff us, that they're going to have preference at it. And, you know, the taxpayers in New Windsor are really not going to benefit much from it.
So, Eve, you got any thoughts on this?
I mean, I talked about it briefly with Matt, and he did look into the toxins, and he said he was sure there was none of that in there, so that's good if that's accurate. And I mean, he did say we get a lot of money from renting out that field to the Quick Strike group, and he seemed to think that we would get more rental income money from it, but I would really want more clear look at the numbers before I decide, because it's very costly.
It did look very costly. Steve, did you get a chance to read it?
Yeah, so another piece that's probably either, maybe made up or not, but my kids played a lot of soccer. My daughter's got a scholarship playing soccer,
Yeah, right.
soccer at college. And when they played at the Dome or the indoor arenas, they used to have this problem where they thought MRSA would be embedded inside these things because it just basically breeds moisture, holds it. So the kids used to always be freaked out, and they'd always wear much longer. Sometimes they'd wear like stretchy pants to make sure they didn't have any issues if they did do like a slide or something like that. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but I know that was one of the issues we were dealing with. And as far as the costs, they played soccer for years on those fields. I've never heard anything about the fields being not worthy of playing on. So I think they're probably fine. So that's my just go.
Sylvia, any thoughts?
Same issues that Eve and Steve Moreau just brought up. you know, what exactly would be the cost? I know at the school district, they had done some repair and so forth, and you know, they talked about the cost of long-term maintenance of the fields, and that it was a lot more practical to spend the money up front
Mhm.
to get the turf. But if there are toxins, or you know, what exactly would be the benefit to the town? What are the numbers exactly? You know, I'd rather have more detail on that.
Okay, well, what was a little troubling to me, and maybe I misunderstood, I thought when it came, they were gonna pay for it. Then
Yeah,
when I saw that, then they weren't paying for it. And I think that these are our fields. These are the residents' fields that they paid for. I think, I haven't had any complaints about it. So if no one has a real, I'm gonna just tell them no. I've seen enough of this.
Since we're on the park, can I ask a quick question? I was asked by a resident about basketball courts in that area. Has that ever come up?
Yeah,
Come up.
that's come up a couple of
You,
times.
you
Yeah.
looking into that,
Yeah,
you
I think
think?
it's something we can do,
Okay, cool.
you know? I'm just trying to think what the issue was. We have the pretty good courts over here at the Sanji, which for years were a bit of a problem, but they don't seem to be a problem anymore. We don't get a lot of calls. We used to get a lot of neighbor complaints, but I would say in the last 2 years, at least since I've been here, it's been very quiet. So yeah, we have talked about putting them out there, and I think Matt has a place where they should go. And I don't think it'd be that much. We did spend a lot of money at Bull Road. We fixed the basketball out there. I have never gotten a call from somebody that they wanted one, but Matt has gotten at least a couple. Now you're telling me you got one.
I got a call. and
Okay.
Girl is right down the road from it, so I know they'll
Yeah.
use it, so.
Problem with basketball, you gotta watch out for is it gets too close to houses, people complain that they hear them.
Loud.
But we used to have that issue over here at Sanjay, but we have not had it in a long time.
Manor is pretty far from, right? I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like
it
it's,
depends on where they put them, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, let me talk to Matt.
Okay,
But yeah, I think that's a good idea. Matt's talked about it. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the splash pads, which, listen, I think it's a great idea, but the more I look into this, the more convoluted it gets. I know we looked at this last year, and I'll let Stephen comment a little bit on, he did a lot of research on it, but the thing that came up recently is, are we going to recycle the water, or are we gonna push it down to our sewer plant? Just let it go and goes down there. We can't take much more down at that sewer plant. We are pretty much maxed out. That's why we're in the middle of this big expansion and upgrade the sewer treatment plant. But to put in a recycling thing, it looks to us like it's maybe like $100,000. So that's on top of the 250 or the 150, whatever, the 1.25, whatever we think the bigger one or the smaller one. And that requires some licensed swimming pool operator. So what that means is like John and Jidos, the water people, they have these Class A and Class B guys, they would qualify for this. We could also have one of our recreation people become a licensed swimming pool operator. But Orange County Department of Health needs to see the plans, and they need to approve everything that's going out there. So John and Jido company, Camo, they do work for Middletown, City of Middletown, and they have one out there. And John talked to his guy, and they don't have a lot to do with it. It's run by Recreation. John was gonna go out there, but John got sick, and then we had the storm on Friday, so I had him in the office today, and he's gonna go out there and take a look at what they're doing. So I think before we can really make a decision, we really have to think about some things and hear back from John. So some of the things that I put down were the kids' age to use. You can't have like 3-year-olds with 12-year-olds running around. It's just, the 12-year-olds are just too active for the little ones. We definitely need some fencing. And one thing that John brought up today that I hadn't thought about anything. So we know it's a limited use. I mean, the summer, like a pool, if you have a pool here, if you own one, you know, it's a very short period that you can use it. So we started talking about the water. Now, would we have to heat it? And would the temperature outside have something to do with people using it? I don't know. But it looks to me right now, and I still need to hear back from John, that I'm definitely seeing $300,000, $400,000 here for this thing. I'm definitely seeing that's where we're going. And we need to think about what's the return on that kind of money. So when we looked at this last year, what was it last year? You took it upon yourself to go out there. What did you find out?
Yeah, I mean, with Davidge Park, or the park out in Middletown, we spoke to them, and and I even spoke to across the river. A lot of people charge. If you see them, you'll see them in cities too, because a lot of the cities don't have homes with pools and stuff like that, so not like New Windsor. And it was, obviously, there's no return on your investment at all. That's not what it's for. I think we figured probably north of 400,000. I mean, one of my biggest problems was if we didn't do a water recycling system, that, we're maxed out at our infiltration now with the sewer plant. This would absolutely kill us. If the amount of water that a $250,000 pad would use is putting a lot of water down there that we obviously can't afford right now. They charge for residents and non-residents. So there's a whole bunch of things. One of the things for me was I know there was a concern about a lot of out-of-towners using this, if you will, which I think will be an attractant. So if it's at a Christie Beverly Park, we use they have almost every weekend out there with tournaments. I think it's going to obviously be an attractant to a more of a they could put a tournament out for a travel softball team and say, bring your kids, bring your bathing suit. We're going to dump you off over there while we play softball. So I don't know. I just think it's gonna, it's a great thing. I would love to see it, but it's not as easy as it sounded when we first looked into it.
Okay. Eve, you have anything?
I absolutely want this to happen, and I'll keep pushing for this. It's the number one thing requested by any resident I've surveyed or talked to over the past year. I get tons of inquiries about a possible water amenity for our town. I mean, we have over 600,000 in the Parkland Fund. We just upgraded our parks, so that, that's not gonna be coming up soon. If we're not doing this turf thing,
We're not doing what?
if we don't have anything else big
Okay.
on the agenda right now to spend the Parklands Fund, I think we need to, my personal opinion is we need to overcome these obstacles, and I would love to see this happen, and I think it'd be worth the money. A lot of people are really would enjoy this, and we could deal with these concerns.
Okay. Steve, you got any comments, any thoughts?
I just look at simple statistics, which are gonna be like, what's it gonna run Memorial Day to Labor Day, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
3 months. Yeah.
Does anyone know how many sunny days over 75 we have on an average in a year? Probably
Like I say, it's like a pool.
15.
It's-
I mean, I got a pool. If anyone wants to take it, you can use it. And then kids, what is it going to be? 3 to 5, 3 to 7. We know the stats on how many of those age group kids are in our town. I mean, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure it's good money spent. That's all. And then if we're just going to have travel team kids coming in from Long Island to run around in our splash pad, it's not a good idea. And definitely coming from a construction background, dealing with the sewer infrastructure issues, and also the water. I mean, you got to pay for the water. Water's not free,
Yeah, we figured about 80,000 gallons a day. Just roughly today, we're going around with some numbers that we got from Matt. That's what it looked like.
The design of the splash pad, though, it's a button you push if you're there, so it's not constantly running, which is good. So if it's a rainy day or a cloudy
Yeah,
day,
you shut it down.
so you are saving water.
Like if the residents want it, we figure it out. That's it, But just for facts, I think the facts are important.
So,
No,
yeah.
definitely.
Same thing, I know residents want it and so forth, and if we could work around the controls of who can access it, but the sewer issues, the water, whether it gets recycled or not, those costs need to be looked at carefully.
I just think for us to make an intelligent decision, I need to get some more facts and numbers.
Exactly.
And I'm not, not gonna take me forever. I'm gonna get this month. I think it has to be recycled. I don't think the other choice is even on the table. So I need to know what those costs are. And I think Gino's going out there personally himself. He's gonna go to Middletown and he tried to call the guy today to make an appointment, go out and see exactly what it is. And then we'll find out what they're costing. But some of the issues that you guys just talked about, I think are part of this. Like age groups is a big deal. I mean, how do we kind of figure out that, is there a certain hour that you, like the city of Newburgh does things where it's an hour by hour? If you want the little ones in with the bigger ones, you gotta be careful with that.
I know the place in Middletown, they said every morning they have somebody come in, they have to kind of disinfect it, clean it up.
Yeah.
Get it set for the day, so that's an everyday.
Are they recycling?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, there's, like I said, if it's a recycle thing, I mean, it's a good thing. I like to see it, but if there's a recycle thing, it's gonna make it a lot more retractable. If it's using our water constantly and in the sewer plant, which we obviously can't afford right now.
I know Matt
it's tough.
and he was the one who brought it up with Matt, that they like Christie Babcock Park. I personally like 244. Smaller, more controlled, don't have that many people from outside the town coming there. You know what I mean? And it's a little more to this side of town. Yeah, it is. But I don't have those groups, and Steve Moreau said that. They come from all over for the tournaments. So what are you gonna tell some little girl that she can't come in? She'd be crying, you know, it'd be a nightmare. And then who's gonna enforce this? Like, the chief is with us tonight, right? And with the mask, the same kind of thing. Some of this stuff becomes unenforceable. You're just gonna create more problems for yourself than you have it. So let me gather those numbers up. I'll send it to everybody, and then we'll have to see where we're going. But if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it probably by next month. We're not gonna do it, they're not gonna do it. But let's at least know what we're voting on. Right? You know, I started tonight without introducing who was here. So we have a whole town board here. We have Councilman Steve Moreau, Councilman Stephen Bedetti, Councilwoman Sylvia Santiago, Councilman Eve Lincoln, and we also have a town clerk with us tonight. We have a highway superintendent, Anthony Fayos here, police chief, Robert Doss is here, and our town attorney, Dave Zagon, and our IT specialist, Patrick Mangan, and George Myers. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, we have the solicitor's permit. This is Mr. Dingeling. I think everybody remembers him. He'll be on the agenda for Wednesday. And I had some conversation with Steve Bedetti about background checks on solicitors, and we had a little problem with Mr. Dingeling because there was multiple drivers, so we had to take some time to kind of check them all out. And I think, and if I'm speaking here, the chief jump in. I think our investigation has to do make sure that not on the sex registry list, and that we check on our in-house, see what kind of activity we have with them, and that's pretty much the extent of it, chief, or is there more?
No, it's a little more than that.
What else?
We're checking some social media sites, just running a driver's license, if it's a vendor that's gonna have a food truck driving around, things like that. So
Okay.
we're not doing a total in-depth criminal history on the person
Yeah.
per se, but we are checking our
And-
records.
And we can't do that criminal history, is that what you're telling me?
We would just have to have them sign off on it. It'd have to be part of the application process.
Oh, really?
We'd have to change it, you know.
David,
We
what do you,
historically haven't done that.
yeah, David, what do you think about that? Yeah, I think we should do that then. Let's put that together. Huh?
We have to amend the code, probably just the application. You take a look at the
Okay.
application and see what it
Yeah,
says.
I think, because the criminal history will tell us a whole lot more than all the things we just talked about. So if we could do that, then we definitely should, especially to these people who are dealing with children. Ice cream, things like that. I mean, okay, so you have anything else you want to add?
No, that was.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So, David, maybe you and the chief can get together on that? And let's see, was it still called a file 15, Robert? Huh? It still is. See, because Patrick, the other night, we had the stolen car that you showed up in LPR, and Patrick, I asked Patrick what something was, and then Freddie said he was 5FO. And Patrick sends me, oh, by the way, that means, Freddie told me it means this, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me what that meant.
I needed clarification.
I said, okay. All right, so good, let's do that. All right, so finally, we will be having the public hearing on our new ethics code. And everybody has a copy of it. And we've kind of looked at this thing, beat it to death. I think everybody's had their comments in there. I appreciate the efforts of the 5 people that are on our ethics board for their work in helping to put this together. So we'll see if and any comments from the public, and we'll hopefully we'll vote on this and finally have what I consider to be a pretty good ethics code in place. Okay, so another thing that's come up over and over again has been this 5 corners. I don't know what will ever happen there, but new blood always brings something new to the table. Eve Lincoln said, hey, how about a roundabout? So I said, okay, we'll try it again. So we're gonna do a resolution to petition DOT, New York State DOT. Anthony, you laughing? Take a look at a roundabout there. And I don't know what else we can do. I mean, anybody who ever has come through here knows that it's a nightmare out there. And sometimes when we have power outages and the light goes out, I mean, years ago, former Chief Corey said, we'll send a cop out there. I said, no, just say goodbye to him. You know what I mean? Everybody's on their own. I mean, it's just impossible. When those lights change, if you're from around here, you do not move to make sure someone's not running that red light. You know, they were in a hurry and then it went yellow and they're coming. So it's a very dangerous intersection, or what, I don't know what you call it, 5 section. So we'll send it up to DOT and we'll see if they respond to us. Sometimes they don't even respond back to us. We have 2 items sitting before them now for almost a year, and we haven't heard back from them. So let's just do what we can do, and then that's the best we can do, all we can do. So we all know that the Orange County Post, formerly known as the Sentinel, went out of business last week or 2 weeks ago. I polled all the board members and we kind of agreed that the Mid-Hudson Times is a local paper. Their rates are very similar to what was paying for the Post, so that'll be on the agenda for Wednesday night. That there'll be our new official newspaper. We need that for posting legal notices. Kelly, how's that working out? You posted anything on them yet?
Yeah.
No? If there's an issue, just let me know. But hopefully, they do a lot of stuff in Newburgh, so they should be okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is this health benefits again, which I'm really, another thing I'm getting to the end of the rope with. Doreen did this thing and I sent it out to everybody just so you could see that I keep talking about how these benefits eventually going to crush the pound. And the fact, the numbers that she was talking about is over $70 million at some point in time. Just all the people who are here now and all the people retired. And there is no like mechanism for us to start putting money away to cover this. So it's an issue. This year alone, it went from 30 to 33, so there was a 10% increase for the family plan. Single plan is like 14,000. So this thing is not only here, but I think in lots of municipalities, going to break the bank. At some point in time, it'll be 10 years, 15, 20 years, but it's just not going to be able to sustain itself. So like I said, this municipality with almost 30,000 people, we're looking at 70 million. Like, where are we getting 70 million from? So in other words, that's that. Now, also, we still had kicking around this health benefits for the town board members, okay? So I think a month or so ago, we all agreed that part-time town board members will not get benefits after they leave, no matter how long they were here. Now, we need to kind of address while they're here. So I will go first, but I think we need to, we'll probably have several different opinions here. I think if you can agree yourselves, everybody will have their own motion in April and see which one goes. My position has been and always been no benefits, period, for part-timers. So, Stephen, you had something to do with the CSCA, right? Is that what's in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, and I looked at that. Go ahead.
I would basically, right now, there's only one board member, I believe, that's actually taking in medical benefits, right now, presently.
Okay.
I
I don't know. Eva, you're not taking them? I don't know.
No, and medical, no.
Okay, go ahead.
basically I was saying grandfather, we've done some stuff like ethics,
Okay.
grandfather, the one guy in that has it now.
Mhm.
And from this point forward, anybody elected doesn't get it. And
So you're not,
anybody that did come in afterwards, we can do what the CSA does where they pay a percentage. Where
okay, you just said forget it. Now you're
Well,
not saying
no, I
forget
mean,
it.
they
You wanna
can
do
pay,
this.
yeah, they can pay the,
Okay.
they can pay the percentage of the CSA.
Well, I went through, this is a little convoluted.
Yeah,
right?
well, it depends when you get hired.
Yeah, so I'm
It's
talking about.
clear that you get hired after now, this point after, it's clear what you're gonna get.
Yeah, but I
So-
mean, it's like 50% through the first 5 years, then it goes to 33%, 6 years and things like
Yeah.
that. So it becomes an accounting.
It can,
issue
yeah, it can be,
for okay, so
it can be.
that would be yours. Eve? What's yours?
I thought about it. I think, I mean, the cost has just been rising every single year by a lot. It doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Just last year, I think 13%. So I think what's fair is, and also my issue is that the buyout is not fair or comparable to the medical benefits cost. Like, it's not a comparable package, buyout versus cost of a family plan. So my first issue is that it should be more comparable, those that take the buyout versus those that take the insurance. So that means raising the buyout, because the buyouts has never been raised. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
Since when it was implemented, but yet the cost of insurance keeps raising. So why are they not both being raised at the same time, or at least look at it every few years? So the buyout's got to come up regardless, is my opinion. And I think what's fair for, I guess, town board members.
Yep.
Right now, my opinion is probably pay for an individual plan rather than a family plan. Just looking at the cost alone, 14,000 versus 33.
Who pays at the town?
Yeah, I think that's a fair benefits package.
Okay. And what about the family?
You could opt into that, and you would have to be responsible for the difference.
Steve?
Yeah, I ran 2 terms with the benefits in place as part of the benefit of the position, so I'm in favor of having the benefits. Like I mentioned in the one meeting, I think, were we live or was that, I forget, was that executive? I don't remember. But it's important positions we have here, so I think it's important to make sure we're compensated, correctly. And I think part of it is the benefits. So I'm in favor of it. I am the one that gets it. And I appreciate it. I really do appreciate that it's a fact, and the people out there that vote for me know that I get it. And those who didn't, and I still get the job, I still do
So not just
appreciate it.
talking about you, what in general do you think?
I think that if it should be grandfathered, and then after that, whatever the consensus is moving forward, I do think it's a good benefit for a good qualified candidate. But if there is an idea, which I don't have, I'm going to let you do that and come up with, here's my idea of what we think is a good idea. This is what you eat, drink, and sleep every day. And it's either an offset raising the base salary of the position, or some sort of split on the way you guys are going to figure out how it comes in. That's sort of it. So
Okay, I just
I'm
not
open,
too sure this, how the consensus gets there. So what would your position be for, forget about you, what would your position be for board members?
to have it, I think it's to have it only because the salary is lower.
Okay.
That's it.
So they would just have it.
An
Right.
individual, like I suggested, or a family?
I think the way it is, unless there's some sort of an adjustment on the salary that brings it to a point where,
Okay.
you may say, we're going to raise the salaries to the point where everybody says that's okay, and then just get rid of the benefits altogether. And if you want them, you're just going to have to go buy them. I assumed you're talking about this part in the middle. It says town employees is also addressing this over here, because the 75 million obviously isn't just for elected officials. It's going to be for everybody.
People who retired and
Right.
people who just got here, as time goes on, so they're here for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
And then they live a long time, they're there for another 20 or 30 years. So this is just an estimate that we got from this.
Yeah, I mean, so just honestly, it's hard to just pick how the rest of the town, even if it's just the elected officials, but ultimately how the whole entire thing is going to lay out for eternity, let's just say. So I think it's a lot of work we still have to do to figure out which.
Well, the
way this is gonna
17-year thing made it worse.
Okay.
Trust me. We just had a guy retire. I think he's the first one who left. What's his name up the highway?
John Nestle.
Yeah, he's the first guy that I know that went out the door on the 17-year. I think he was here on the 7th anniversary of 17-year. He didn't waste any time. Yeah, he was gone.
So in other words, that made sense. He followed it, and to him, he just,
Hey, it said in the contract, the contract is the contract, and that's what it was. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but that's what it says. I can't change it. All right, Sylvia, how about you?
Well, I think council members should be entitled to individual insurance. I think they should pay a portion of, maybe if we cover 75%, I don't think it should be 100%. And any difference for family or otherwise, they should cover the cost of the difference.
Okay, so what I would ask each of you to do is just put something in writing and send it to me. It doesn't have to be War and Peace, just kind of what you think it should be. Let me see if I can see if there's some room for consensus. At least 3 people think that it's a good idea, right? We need 3 that think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think I talked, and I think it'd probably be nice for us to go to the package that we all agree on. Hopefully we can get there. There is just to go along with what Eve was saying, there is a mechanism in the CSCA contract that I know we spoke about in reference to the buyout. It's up to the supervisor to actually increase that based on each case. of somebody. I know, your exception was, hey, listen, I can't have one person arguing while you
Yeah,
need it. But there is still a mechanism in there to raise that a bit, and that's why we left that
Yeah,
open for
but
that.
I mean, it has to be the same for everybody, because it becomes very difficult for the controller's office if Sylvia gets one thing, Steve gets something else, I get something else.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you said it's gonna be not 4,000, it's 8,000, that mechanism, there's nothing left to do with the CSA with that buyout. This would be a town board thing.
All right, so
So
everybody,
just
get,
go-
everybody get me something in the next week or two? Just even handwrite it, just get it to me so I kind of have some idea where we're going. Because I want to go, I want to get done with it, I'm tired of talking about it. All right, gonna call for two public hearings. I'm gonna call for a community development block grant public hearing, which will be for 2023, just to see if the public has any input. They want to put, that public hearing would be in April. We have another public hearing about vehicle and traffic, some parking signs that we need to readjust the language. And, okay, so I think now I'm at executive session. So I ask everybody who's not a board member to leave. But Robert, maybe just hang around for a minute.